Hello everybody! Welcome to another Sunday Funday, and as I told you, I'm here to talk about the other Into the Dark film that I watched, which was Crawwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwwww
Got a gun on you? Got off the dead alien.
Yeah, this one, it technically came out after my Valentine, and I watched it first, which is weird to say that. But I have thoughts, I want to give them out. And if you want to know why I consider these actual films instead of television episodes or anything like that, refer back to my Valentine and whole spiel that I went on for like the first 15-20 minutes. So, let's just dive into this one and actually talk about crawlers and talk about what is good, what is bad, what is terrible. And I am going to quickly preface this if you do not know. This is a better film than My Valentine. That is not saying much though. It is better because it at least seems like they spent more than $13 on it. I don't know why 13 is the number I stick on. It's just one of those ones I do. There is still the same issues with the entire Into the Dark issue or series on how they do things. One, this movie still does not have a budget. I get it. There's only so much they can do with certain things. But there is very obvious times whenever they're supposed to be shooting in a crowded dance bar thing, and everything is smoky, and you hear people doing stuff obvious fake noise that they put in, and you can see that there's 3 people in the background. Ooh. And on top of everything, the whole idea, I will say this much, it is a unique idea. It is a fairly unique idea in the fact that what it is there was this asteroid that crashed near this town, and it has been, pretty much it came with these little microbes, and they are replicating humans, but they are also very super territorial, so they're actually killing people, and the way they replicate them is they bite them and shit like that. Okay, it's almost kind of a twist on zombies, which, hey, that's unique, that's cool, I'm fine with it. I like the idea that we're going to do a zombie flick, but not zombies. That's one of the issues, and one of the things that a lot of people don't realize with zombie movies. It's fine doing zombies. Put a spin on it. Do something interesting with it. Make the zombies not truly zombies. That's fine. I like that idea. Hell, I actually was able to put up with most of Warm Bodies despite that. Even though Warm Bodies kind of got almost sickeningly too sweet for even my cold heart. And, it's got an interesting kind of premise. Most of the actresses that are in it, this does actually center around 3-ish or so women. And one lady, her name is Yunjin, I believe is how they keep pronouncing it. She's fine. She's okay. There's times when things should be better than how she does it. And yes, if you can see me routine, I'm trying to figure out one of the other characters' names. Another character, her name is Misty. She is supposed to be troubled because troubled is the best way to describe it, because that is constantly how she acts about it. Turns out she got drugged at this one frat house party and just woke up and didn't know what happened. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm not saying that that's not a good reason. Just the actress doesn't 100% carry it. She just looks pouty a lot of the time. It's less of somebody who is, scared to look over their shoulder and very untrusting of people. Instead, just somebody who's kind of just pissed off at the world. It never 100% works as much as it should. Now, the other main character, Sorry if you're hearing something. That is actually the wind. It is blowing all the things on top of my roof. It's one of those little spinning deal things, because I do. And it's just spinning it. But the other main character, her name is Shauna. She is a huge, like, conspiracy theory nut, and she also sells drugs and all this other fun stuff. And Shauna's also probably the most annoying fucking character out of them all. It's not the problem that she is bad. She's fine. She actually, like, some of her, like, kind of getting excited about the fact she's right and she knew it was aliens. Ah, it's not zombies, it's aliens. I knew it, man. It's actually kind of endearing. The problem is the entire movie is framed around the fact that Shauna is giving this to us as a webisode. You know, pretty much like, this is part of a series she's doing on YouTube or anything like that. It feels like there should have been more preamble, more episodes or anything like that that were devoted to Shauna and her talking about her conspiracy theories. Hell, you could have had her technically as a framing device for the entire show, for lack of a better way to put it, and instead we just get this once, and dear God, does it get fucking annoying really fast, because there's constant stopping so she can give a little joke or say something and then starting back what's going on. It wouldn't be bad, except for the fact there is times when she's talking about stuff that there's no reason why she should be able to be talking about. She wasn't there to see it happen. She didn't know about some of this stuff, like talking about this one cop who gets killed by a zombie early on. She's like, I know what you're thinking. You think it's zombies. So it's not zombies. And it's like, but how would you know that this is what happened to this cop? You were not there. I don't know how much more I can keep saying that one phrase. You were not there. It's almost like a mantra you constantly hear. And constantly when you have these stops, it'd be one thing if it was only whenever she pops up or when she is there. But constantly it's happening with stuff that she wasn't there for, or she wasn't even present. She didn't even know about, or anything. And it's like, okay, this is actively hurting your film. This is just this like attempt to try and be smart, and you're just failing at it miserably. Magic jump cut. Sorry, I had to get some. It was like legitimately bothering me. That's when I started to see me scratch my eye. But yeah, so constantly this stopping, starting shit that she wants to do so she can say a joke or anything like that. It's obviously trying to be funny. It's one of the things that I will give the movie. It's like it's tempting to be funny. It fails miserably, but it is at least trying. And it's a lot more than I can say about My Valentine. My Valentine was constantly trying to be a lot more serious. It was trying to take its entire idea. It's like, it's very serious stuff, man. Serious stuffs. And it was so unbelievably stupid and lame. It was beyond words. Here, it never tries to be super serious, which helps, but also hurts the movie in the fact that it constantly does that stop shit where Shauna has to give an opinion. And not only that, but every character has to get, like, introduced to, like, these little, like, credit sequences in a way. And it's kind of lame, is the best way to put it. It's not terrible, it just seems so cheesy, so silly, and I've seen it played out so many times so far. I've just become numb to it. And I don't care about the characters. That's another big issue. We're supposed to give a shit about Misty throughout most of this movie, but again, the problem is the actress doesn't 100% pull it off. Because of the fact that she's supposed to be more of somebody who's hurt because she told her best friend about this, possible rape that happened, and instead, Misty should be angry at that friend. Instead, she just seems kind of like passively aggressively mad at her. It's so bizarre, and it doesn't work. And in fact, there's supposed to be a moment near the end that is supposed to be more of Misty realizing that her friend is not as much of a friend as she thought. And instead it just kind of goes away and it just disappears. It's just kind of a point that's brought up and just left behind. I don't know why. I don't know even why it exists in the film, pretty much. It doesn't add anything. Instead, it's like, okay, well, this feels kind of wholly unrewarded or unneeded. Yay for you, movie. The other fun thing about the entire film is that there's supposed to be this whole thing with one of the guys from the frat house where Misty might have got raped. That's another issue. The movie does not want to just straight up say it's like she got raped there. Just say that. That's fine. That is a fine enough reason, except for the fact, I guess they realized, like, okay, well, we can't explicitly say she got raped there. One, because certain things don't really make sense in the context of everything. Two, is she kind of just doesn't pull it off. Not saying she needs to act like a rape victim acts like a certain way, but she just constantly acts more annoyed about everything than she does, like she's legitimately scared of anything. Like, she only seems at least like partially kind of terrified about going back to the area where the rape might have occurred. And again, that's another issue. She doesn't say whether or not it does. I get it. She says, I was probably roofied and all this and that. Okay, that's fine. It's understandable. But again, this plot point also just drops off after halfway through. It just kind of disappears. But we do get introduced. I also cannot remember his name. But there is a guy, his name is Aaron. He comes up. He is actually he's supposed to be a dickhead at first, but then he just magically becomes kind of a nice dude. And there's actually more to him about everything. And it kind of comes up halfway through the film, so I don't give a shit. And I'll give the actor as much as he's doing as best he can with the material he's given. He's not given much. Don't get me wrong there. He's given very little to work with. And again, a prevailing issue with My Valentine and also this, the writing kind of sucks ass in the film. And that's also one of the other kind of issues of the movie. Is like, the writing's kind of piss poor. All these, what it thinks are jokes, things that it thinks are funny or anything, are just not very funny. They're just not very smart. They're very poorly implemented, actually. And worse yet, the entire movie is just, it's kind of forgettable. There's a unique premise, don't get me wrong there. But ultimately, you don't give a shit about the characters, which is a huge, huge problem. Because for you to remember a movie beyond its plot, you need to have a character you can sync up with. A character you can give a shit about. But instead, you don't get any of that. You just get a lot of kind of lameness. And honestly, Crawlers kind of just sucks ass. It's not My Valentine levels of just being the worst piece of shit ever, or one of the most god-awfully boring flicks I've had to sit through. But it is, again, another indictment on how modern horror movies are done. It's just, it looks cheap in parts where it really shouldn't be looking as cheap as it is. Its budget is way too often shown in front of you in the screen. Like, there are some moments like, okay, this looks like they've actually had a little bit of money, they had a little bit of time and energy. Oh, cool, they ran out of budget, so they can't really shoot this thing worth a damn. Awesome. Fucking good work there, guys. Congratulations. Yeah, God. Stupid movies. And this is actually almost an issue I have with the entire Into the Dark series. I get it's a Blumhouse production group. And yes, their idea is usually cheap. But take, for instance, and I don't even want to give the movie a ton of props, but at least like The Conjuring. Hell, I didn't like it at all, Insidious, or any of its sequels. Yeah, they have a minuscule, mini little baby budget. You could spend less than that on these films, maybe like about half, and you'll still end up with a pretty good horror film. Those films rely on a lot of CGI, actually, strangely enough, which seems to defeat the purpose of it being a cheap film. But you could easily have like half the budget be devoted for all of these different little movies. But no, they decide to, hey, each one of these has $50,000. Figure out a way to spend it. Cool, so we have no budget to do with anything. Oh, God damn it. Oh, these fucking movies. Crawlers could have been, at the very least, tolerable. It could have been a mediocre at worst film. There could have been, oh, well, hey, let's, instead of padding it out with all these attempts at, oh, we're going to add character to all these characters, in the essence of, oh, well, we're going to have these characters just sit there and talk about things while we're just driving around. It doesn't relate to the plot. It actually doesn't really even relate to the characters' interactions with each other because it seems to constantly shift wildly between what this character thinks, how this character thinks, everything. And sometimes Misty's a real dickhead. Sometimes Misty's is a person who seems like she's went through an issue like losing her dog or something. And then other times Misty's back to being a fucking dickhead. I get it. You're not going to get Academy Award winners. You're not going to get the best acting in the world. But trust me, you can shoot a horror film for less than $1 million and still get a pretty decent flick. There are so many different horror films that have been able to be made for so less money. And I'm not even talking about from back in the 70s. I'm talking about from back a few years ago. There are some decent horror flicks that are being made to this day that are being made for very small amounts of money. Hell, you want a good example of an actual horror film that's actually still be able to be creepy, even if some people don't 100% always agree with it? Look at Paranormal Activity. Hell, look at the two other sequels I actually care for, 2 and 3. They had a small budget. They still were able to make a creepy ass flick the entire time. And if you don't agree with the fact that they were creepy or you didn't like them 100%, you still know about them. You still remember much. You still remember quite a bit about the movies. And that's the thing. These are movies, again, they don't have a budget. They had no money. They had barely anything to do. But they still managed to make these things creepy. Look at Asylum, for crying out loud. They spend like $2 on their flicks. They at least try to make them look competent. Well, sometimes. The CGI may look like ass at times. Or they might decide to do that grainy shit. But, come on, guys. I know that you gotta know how to be able to stretch $1. Why make this if you don't know how to make this money stretch? And instead, you're just ending up with bad movies. This is just more sign that, hey, we don't know how to make horror movies anymore. We're just going to make shit films. If you want a final score on Crawlers, because I've kind of railed on the fact they don't know how to use their budget properly, it seems bad compared to My Valentine because of the score. It is a 1. But it's a 1 in a different category. It's a 1 simply because I don't go low in my scores. I don't go, this is a -3, this is -12 stars or something. Because the lowest I will go is a 1. It's a movie that they at least tried a bit, but then they realized, oh shit, we don't have enough script here to make a full-length movie. So there's a lot of padding here and there. There's a lot of the movie not moving forward. Like, I like the fact that they tried to give a lot of characterization early on to Misty and Chloe's relationship. Alright, cool, that's actually a really good idea. But it drug it the fuck out. There's a point where, okay, stop. We get it. We get there's issues between these two. Move forward now. Let's get that plot rolling. Instead of sitting on the same subject and regurgitating itself. It's just puking it up, shoving it back up its own ass, and puking it back out. It's just a never-ending cycle, stupid. And it's like, okay, I get that fact. I get it. Misty went through some shit. I understand that. I feel for the girl. Let's move on. Let's go somewhere else with this. Oh, it's put a damper between her and Chloe's relationship. Alright, cool. Chloe's 45 years old and she's still in college. Why is this your best friend? Not to pick on the poor lady who plays Chloe. I am sorry, she looks like she's 33 at the youngest. Is a god, lady. Age is hitting you like Goldie Hawn. It's hitting you like Ike Turner beat up Tina. Oh, Jesus. This is such a piss poor film, and I feel bad giving this the same score, but I can't give it higher because of the fact that no matter what, there may be some brighter spots than My Valentine, its lows are still just as bumpy, still just as fucking rough. There's still just as many pitfalls, so many other issues. Hell, there's whole moments where we had to sit there and go through this whole rigmarole about dealing with how did this guy get bit? Well, did he really get bit? No, this thing, maybe this thing, maybe this thing. It's like 15 fucking minutes. It's like, I don't care. I don't know how harder I could say it. I don't care. I don't care. Still don't care. Still don't care. Stop it, movie. Just move. And it constantly feels like the issue. I'm waiting to yell at the screen, not because the movie is doing, something stupid, except for the fact it is doing the most egregious thing I can think a film could do, and that is waste time. Hell, My Valentine did that as well, but at least it felt like it's because they realized they had $2 left once they began shooting. Ugh. So yeah, Into the Dark so far has been fucking disaster. Can we have movies come back to theaters, please? I'll go lick some coronavirus patients' heads. If you just let me be able to go see a movie in the theater again soon. I'm gonna go fucking crazy before it's all said and done. But yeah, I guess that's Crawlers for you. Just don't watch it. It's not worth your time. It's technically better than My Valentine, but it's better in the sense that that turd has sprinkles on it and this one doesn't. They're still turds. But hey, that's my opinions. Let me know what you think. If you've watched the rest of the Into the Dark series, let me know if you've enjoyed them. I'm probably going to watch later tonight. Probably going to watch the Midnight Kiss, I believe is what it's called. The one from this year that's supposed to be set during New Year's Eve. Probably also watch Puka and then Puka Lives, because that's the only one that's got a sequel. I'll see if Puka was worth getting a sequel. And if so, then it's like, oh, if it wasn't, woo, Puka Lives might be really, really rough for me then. But hey, I will see you all later, and until then, and have fun, because I'm certainly not. But until then, bye-bye, everybody.